2 weeks ago, we talked about how the car market recession is coming, and quite frankly, it's already here. Now, I'm going to walk you through the three real reasons why we're in a car market collapse, what you need to know about them, and what you can do. Oh, and I even created slides. Okay, so just get excited. Let's jump right in. The three real reasons why the car market is crashing by yours truly, Zach Shefska. Number one. Supply and demand for cars was out of whack, okay? I really probably don't even need to spend too much time on this. We had a page back on the Join YAA website, where we still have the page, where every single week for almost 2 years, we've tracked how many vehicles have been taken out of new car production because of the chip shortage. The latest update from last year, so this was from, let me scroll back up, this was the update from December 20th of 2021. Had us at 11.3 million new cars taken out of production globally as a result of the chip shortage. I can scroll all the way back up and I can show you even more data. This year, so far in 2022, we've had nearly 4 million vehicles, or the projection is for 4 million vehicles to have been taken out of production. So obviously, you take that many vehicles out of the market, you're going to see some really crazy things happen when supply goes super low. And so what have we seen? This is data that just came out the other day from Cox Automotive. New vehicle average transaction prices, they actually fell, and we're going to talk about that more in a second here, again, because the car market is, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, it's collapsing, but it fell for the first time in 5 months after hitting record high after record high. That the lack of supply that we saw as a result of the chip shortage drove new car prices north of $48,000 on average. Just let that sit with you for a second. Again, it's starting to come down a little bit. And on the used car side, the average transaction price for a used car is north of $28,000. September 2020, November 2020, January 2021, this is kind of right when the chip shortage was really at its peak. We saw prices, or right before it went to its peak, we saw prices south of $22,000, and obviously look where we've been ever since. Used car prices went sky high. So this is nothing new, right? We all know supply and demand was out of whack. There was the chip shortage, then there was the wiring harness shortage, there was a neon shortage. There's been shortages out the wazoo. Supply went down. Demand was really high. Why was demand really high? This is point number two. Consumers had easy access to financing. This one is, it pains my heart because people are going to be ending up with their vehicles repossessed and things like that. Take a look at the numbers here. This is just for used vehicles. This data comes by way of Edmunds. Q3 of 2021, Q2 of 2022, Q3 of 2022. Look at the average term length for a used car note. It has increased. Almost a 6-year note, 70.9 months. The monthly payment has increased. The amount financed has stayed about the same from last quarter, but has increased year over year. Look at the APR, 9%, and the amount down has increased as well. The reason we've seen demand stay high, we saw demand stay high was because consumers had easy access to financing. Financing on terms that truly made no effing sense, but they had easy access to it plus stimulus money. Now, unfortunately, we're in a position where we've seen loan delinquency rates and auto repossessions increase significantly. There's already a 33% increase in repossessions amongst deep subprime borrowers. This data comes by way of the CFPB. We did an entire write-up on it back on the joinyaa.com website. But so far, we have seen an incredible increase in loan delinquency and ultimately repossessions for consumers because they got these loans that they should have never had access to. And we've seen major corporations take actions to kind of get ready for the repercussions of having made those loans. There's a great video from Lucky Lopez. He just posted it yesterday. CarMax to lose $75 million. That title is so accurate because CarMax in their most recent earnings, I guess it was their Q2 earnings. Maybe it was their I guess it was their Q3. Anyway, in their most recent earnings, they increased their loan provisions, how much money they're setting aside for reserves for loans that they don't think are going to come to fruition, from $35 million to $75 million. They more than doubled the amount of money that they're setting aside for loans that they do not think are actually going to come to fruition. People are just going to stop paying for them. They are going to lose $75 million. And it's not just CarMax. Credit Acceptance Corporation, we referenced this earlier this year. They set aside $178 million. And their earnings were down 63% because they've had to set aside more money for loans that they don't think are going to come good. And it's not just in automotive, folks. U.S. banks to set aside $4 billion for potential losses from bad loans. We are seeing what is called CECL, the amount of money that's going off into reserve funds increasing across the board for all aspects of our economy because there was a lot of financing being done, a lot of money being thrown around. This was when money was cheap, when interest rates were low. And ultimately that led to, as supply was crashing, demand was increasing, not a good mix. So point number 3, demand has vanished. The past, I'll say 90 days have been eye-opening within the automotive industry, and supply is actually increasing. Some really interesting data that shows that supply, even though the headlines might not say it, and quite frankly, there's some conspiracy theories, and they might be right, that automakers want to keep supply constrained. We've got some indicators that show that even if they want to keep it constrained, they're improving. Conditions are improving. Demand has vanished. The latest headline from Cox Automotive, new vehicle inventory closes September up, asking prices down. Now, Cox Automotive is the conglomerate that owns every aspect of automotive. Okay, pretty much if you've bought a car, you've interacted with Cox Automotive, they are the powerhouse. They talk out of both sides of their mouth. It is actually kind of hilarious. You've got a quote here that says, supply is improving, but demand is staying strong. So we're still not back to inventory levels of years past. I mean, this is very true. Inventory levels are at 1.32 million. They were below 1 million a couple months ago. And before the pandemic, they were around 4 million. So let that sink in here. Supply is still considerably lower than it had ever been before. That being said, it's never going back to what it was like pre-pandemic. You click over to one of Cox Automotive's other articles about how the used vehicle market is stabilizing, and you scroll down, you don't even have to go that far. The same exact person says, it may well be that higher interest rates are beginning to hurt used vehicle demand because consumers can't afford higher monthly payments. Make up your mind, Charlie. My 2 cents here, demand is going away. Who the hell wants to take out, let me pull it back up, who the hell wants to take out a 6-year loan at 9%? No one. No one. And if you do, that's more power to you and everything, but that seems like a risky financial move, especially on a vehicle that, if it's a used one, could be out of manufacturer warranty. If it's a new one, it's got a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. So we're starting to see demand for these vehicles decrease, while supply is actually increasing. September fleet sales dropped slightly, remain up nearly 25% year over year. Why do I care about fleet sales? Who the hell cares about fleet sales? Fleet sales were what went away entirely. Some automakers like Hyundai and Kia, for example, they said during the pandemic, we are done selling fleet cars. We just can't do it. We need to supply our dealers. We're done. Well, fleet sales are up 25% year over year. Commercial fleets, government fleets, rental car fleets. Remember all those headlines about rental car companies going to the used car auctions and bidding on 2-3-year-old used cars, jacking up the prices of used cars? Well, now they're getting their fleets are actually, the fleet sales from the OEMs are coming back. Why would the OEMs be producing? Why would Toyota? Why would Ford and GM and Hyundai and Kia even? Why would they be producing fleet vehicles again? Because those are their lowest margin vehicles. Why? Because they can. Because the consumer demand is running out. So we've got a lack of consumer demand and an increase of supply. And it's even impacting, I absolutely love, Car Dealership Guy over on Twitter. Encourage you, if you're not following him, follow him over there. Something surprising. Used cars under $20,000 are actually declining at auctions. There was some thought within the industry that, the most attainable price point vehicles would actually retain their value the greatest because there's been such a lack of supply of vehicles at that price point that people thought, okay, they're just going to hold their value like crazy and never go down. No, we are finally starting to see even those vehicles decline in value. So when you put it all together here, to run it back through, supply was way higher than demand. Supply was way lower than demand at the beginning of the pandemic. Demand was stupid high because consumers had easy access to credit. Consumers who shouldn't have had access to loans had access to loans. Plus, we had the stimulus money and all that fun stuff. And now the demand is going away. Those dealers now have more inventory than before. We didn't even go that deep into interest rates, but dealers actually floor plan their inventory. They don't pay cash for it, so they're paying more every single day to hold on to their inventory. You add this all up and you're in a situation where there's a real likelihood that we are going to see a collapse in both the used car market and the new car market. I would not be surprised if going into next year, we see used car prices, and in one of those Cox articles, they talk about as well, through the summer of next year, used car prices continuing to decline and new car prices going down from their peaks as well. Some manufacturers, for example, Stellantis, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, you're going to find incredible deals on the new car side there. Even Ford, GM, there's some opportunities there for deals. Other automakers, Asian automakers, Toyota, Subaru, Mazda, they continue to struggle. So if you're in the market to buy a car, have this information in your back pocket. Understand what you're getting into. It's not a seller's market anymore. It's definitely a buyer's market. The final thing I'll leave you with is at joinyaa.com. We have a 90-day car buying program. Okay, join us. Let us help you. It's been incredible to see. We actually just ran the numbers the other day. Nearly $50 million is what we've been able to save folks over the past 2 years since we started working on this. So thank you for letting me inform you with this information. Thank you for listening and actually taking action. And go ahead and save yourself some money. Like let this little slide continue, and towards the end of this year, should be a pretty good time to buy a car. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, interested to hear from you. Thanks.